Those in the audience who were here yesterday, I apologize. I'm going to ask the same question I asked yesterday to see if today's candidate can do any better than yesterday's candidate. I want to start by talking about the Board of Trustees, because a lot of the anger and negative reaction you experience is really directed toward the process that the Board of Trustees engaged in. But I want to connect that process to long-standing issues at Chicago State University. I've taught here for 22 years, not as long as some, but long enough to know something about how things operate here. I'm a member of the Faculty Senate, and the Faculty Senate voted to participate in a protest of these interview sessions. I don't want to misrepresent it, and to wear black today, which I'm wearing, because of the marginalization of faculty and students in the process of selection. So when the Board of Trustees got to having discussions as about who to interview, nobody in the faculty and nobody in the students was allowed to participate in those discussions or even hear those discussions or deliberations. Now that top-down management style, that disrespect for faculty and students, permeates the culture at Chicago State University and has led to consistent and systematic disrespect for our students. I'd like to mention 4 examples. Just within the last 2 years, our students voted 17 to 1, by a margin of 17 to 1, 1,700 votes roughly to 100 votes, to have UPass at Chicago State University. The administration has refused to do it because it would charge to the needs of students, and particularly to the most disadvantaged students. Number 2, our bookstore does not allow the students to walk in and get their own textbooks. To our students, and it harms us as instructors. Because our students have the frustration of waiting in long lines. Number 3, that when the students show up to get financial aid, they are in these incredibly long lines for days for financial aid. A problem that occurs year after year. The administration knows that that's a problem, and they have not dealt with it and solved it in a way that's satisfactory and to the needs of students. Number 4, as a member of the Senate, either 3 or 4 years ago, I introduced a resolution that was endorsed twice unanimously, that the administration should organize the cleaning of the smart boards in our classrooms so we don't walk into classrooms with filthy boards which make it difficult for us to put material on the board and to teach. 3 years later, I walk into my classroom and the boards are still filthy. Now, a connection. That the disrespect for students and faculty in the educational process comes from the Board of Trustees from the very top, and the fact that they treat the presidency of this university as a place for politically connected people, not for people who are dedicated to the teaching and research and missions of the university. So the question would be, if you were to serve the students, you'd have to fight the Board of Trustees all the way to change the culture, the racist culture at Chicago State. How are you going to fight the Board of Trustees to undo that culture of disrespect?
Sir, that is not a difficult question. That's an easy. The examples that you gave from the 3 or 4 that I remember, I said remember. All of those are situations that I obviously do not support. Okay, the example of the bookstore. We, how you say, terminate